You.
Uh,
When you're ready, can you turn on the camera if possible?
it seems like, the camera is not working and
Oh, okay.
is that
That's
all
all
right?
right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Whatever works best for you.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, are you in Australia, Verdana, or?
Ye- Yeah, I'm in Australia, Melbourne.
Oh, okay, I'm from Melbourne too. Where about are
Really?
you in Melbourne?
So I live in Point Cook.
All right, Point Cook.
Yeah. Yeah, where do you live?
So I'm now in Vermont. It's in the east.
East. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I used to live like, in Templestowe.
All
So
right.
yeah, we like moved like 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you work in accounting as well?
Yeah, I work as a financial controller, but it's more of like, a bookkeeping role.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Financial controller. So what are you studying
Ye-
CPA for anymore?
Uh, No, it's like, it's more of like a bookkeeping job, but yeah, the
Right.
title given to me is like financial controller. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I guess you have a lot of experience in the management accounting already, or at least have some exposure to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you
See?
can say that a little bit, but feels
That's all
like,
right.
that's a lot to learn yet.
Yeah, I see that Shara already also joined us today. Hello, Shara. How are you?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you turn on your camera or
Oh, yeah, I can. Give me 2 seconds.
okay. I just want to see everyone's face. So
Hello.
it's feel
Okay.
like it's real reaction. How are you doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you?
Good. Are you based in Australia as well, or?
Correct. I live in Melbourne, St. Albans.
All right. So you
Yeah.
guys must be close. So Verdana lives in Point Cook.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
is
yeah.
did I spell your name correctly? Verdana?
Shara, correct. Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Okay, cool. I think that we're just waiting for one more
Okay.
to join us. So let's give him like a couple of minutes,
No
him
problem.
or her a couple of minutes, and then we can start. So tell me a bit about your background, Shara. Are you
Uh,
working in accounting as well?
kind of, yes. I work for an accounting firm and work as a auditor.
Right. Okay. So
So,
it's just like entry level start with in accounting.
no, I've been actually working for them probably about 3 years, but before that as well, I've been working uh, another 3 years for another accounting firm. So,
All
um,
right. All
yeah,
right. I see. So we both have a lot of experience. Some got of experience in accounting. That's
yes,
good. That's a very good start.
yeah.
So, is this your first or
No, this
have
is
you
my
studied
third
any other
unit.
CPA
I
subject before, both of you?
This is my fourth
Oh,
unit.
the fourth one, right. So
Yeah.
which one
Yeah.
have you finished already?
So I finished FR,
Right. That's a
EG,
hard
and
one.
yeah, FR, EG, and AT.
All right,
Yeah.
80. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you looks like you really like to finish all the technical one first and then
Yeah.
moving on to a bit of theory and conceptual subject, do you?
Yeah. I just wanted to finish the difficult one first so that, I can, yeah, go a bit easier
Right.
in the
This one
rest
should
of
be
the
a
subject.
breeze. Um, right. Is any one of you joining with the phone or something? I have another account joining 61481.
not
No,
me.
that's not me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I knew is that um hello?
It's Anu.
Anu. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's all
Hey
right.
Anu, can you hear me? Okay. Maybe we're giving a bit of time to connect. It's a bit slow. That's okay. Anoop, whenever you're ready, please feel free to turn on your camera and turn on your audio so we can start the class. All right, let's get right into it, hey? So before we start, have you guys have access to Digify and EdooSmart platform?
Yeah.
Have you got the chance to kind of listen to all the recordings?
Yeah. I've listened till the part D. I
Right.
haven't.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. That's what
Yeah.
we're gonna study on today as well. So if you can finish part E, that's a great start. Actually, a little bit about myself first. I was like too busy listening to about you guys. So I'm Charlotte. I'm gonna be your trainer this semester. So I work in accounting as well. I work at a tech company and construction company, and now kind of move in a more senior role at accounting. So yeah, feel free to ask me anything you can. I've experienced all the CPA subject myself as well. So if you have any other question, happy to help. All right. So for this semester, we're gonna go into strategic management accountings. So it's great that some of you guys have already have exposure to some of the CPA subjects. Because like in CPA, it's kind of divided into like you have technical subject like financial reporting, financial risk management, and tax. And then you have all the conceptual subject like ethics and governance, and then you have global strategy and leadership, which is going to be one of your core one that you might have to take after this one. Um, SMA or strategic management accounting to me is sit in the combination of both conceptual subjects and technical subjects. So you have some conceptual knowledge as in, oh, what is strategic management accounting? What is the information needed for the decision making? But then you also have some kind of exposure to some tools that we use in the process of strategically management, which is like planning, budgeting, forecasting, and some tool for the performance measurement metrics as well, which we're gonna delve into more in module 3, 4, and 5. So with that having said, I'll probably share with you guys some of the general information about the subject as well. So this one is gonna get divided into 6 modules. And looking at this one, you can see which one is the one with the highest weighting, which is module 3. Just because it contains a lot of knowledge, but I would recommend you guys, based on this weighting, to spend the same amount of time on studying, reading, doing all your index according to this weighting. So with in terms of the question, as the exams, SMA is going to be a combination of exam, like it will have 52 multiple choice question, and then you'll have some extended response question. So it doesn't really specify how many extended response question would you be given in the exam, and each of the exam is different, but it's what's given to us is the points. So 52 question and one correct answer for each question, you will be equivalent to 52 points. And the extended response question is going to be 22 points. So if you look at like the exam in as a whole, you have 3 hours and you have 74 points. So it's roughly 2.4 minutes for each point. So if I would allocate a minimum of 1 hour for all the extended responder questions, and the remaining, which is roughly 2 hours or maybe a little bit more for all of your multiple choice questions. So I just kind of like giving you a rough idea of what the exam is going to be. So with this one as well, what we want, the goal that we want to achieve out of SMAs is not only to know where the knowledge is, but actually to understand it, because all the multiple choice question, it's not going to be like, oh, you scan the keyword and you know where it is in the book, and you open it and there it is, that's the answer. The multiple choice question is delve more into your understanding. It has the combination of all the concept as well. So in order to respond to this question like efficiently and in the most correct way, you would need to be able to first understand the concept, and second to link all this concept together. How is that going from, oh, the definition of strategic management accounting, then what kind of information do we need? Then we're moving on to the tools, and how is it specifically applies to project management, what kind of KPIs we need when we're managing the performance of that project, and lastly, you delve into the tools for creating and managing value. So that's the overall idea of this subject, and that's the overall outcome that I want you guys to be able to achieve after these sections. So the way that we're going to study, actually, before we continue, Anu, can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, hi.
Okay, perfect. If you can, please turn on the camera so we have a bit of interactive in the class. Really appreciate it. All right. It can wait whenever you're ready. And then where am I? All right. So that's the overall achievement that I want you guys to achieve out of this subject. Next one, the way that our section is going to be structured, we were not going to go through all the concept again because that's assumed that you guys already listened to all the recordings and attempt all of the questions. So for this section, our goal is to summarize the concepts, answer to all your questions, given that you've already done your reading, you're watching all the recordings in the platform. And then we're going to attempt the questions and try to revise and brush up all of your skill to do all of these questions. So in the meantime, I really encourage if you guys have any question at all, just raise your hand, use the chat, or even feel free to unmute yourself so we can kind of see where everyone's understanding is. And then you'll never know, your question might be someone else's question as well. So are we good so far? Are we following me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. About the subject in general and the exam structure, do you have any other questions? Cool.
Not, yeah.
Perfect. The last thing that I would really encourage all my students to do is after each of our section, please help to create your own index because with 52 questions and 2 minutes per point, so which is like 2 minutes per question, per multiple choice questions, your index will come really handy in your exam room. I know that EdooSmart might provide you with some of the index, but being able to create one of your own is going to be like a revision for you because every time you create one index, that's how you revise the subject, not until you write it down before you can fully comprehend the concept and kind of see if you actually understand it. So yeah, I'll double check with you guys on that on every section to make sure that we are keeping track of our index. If you don't know where to start, looking at the EdooSmart index as a reference and kind of start your own. Use all the key terms from there, but for the details and notes, please try to put in your own word and then comprehend your own understanding. Try to give some example for some of the concept as well, if possible. All right. Are we good with that?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So now let's get into it. I will summarize all of the key concept for module 1, part A to part E first. But in that time, if you have any question at all, please unmute yourself, use the chat, or raise your hand, and then we can go through that in more details. Cool. So strategic management accounting. We start first with the question, what is value? So value in general, it's actually, I want to hear your idea as well, because you've already done the recording. What do you think is value? Verdana, do you want to start?
Uh, it's like, adding value to the value chain in the organization, like, starting from production, distribution, and, going to the end.
Mm.
So, yeah, so this is what I understand.
Perfect. So that's one part of the value that you mentioned there, because it's about linking all the process and linking some of the departments to create something out of it. So in a broad concept, value is about combining resources together, which is in your case, combining all the production, marketing, customer service department in a manner that creates the desirable outcomes, such as growing food, generating energy, providing healthcare, building new machines. The list and the list go on. The reason why the list go on is because value means different things to different people. So we have so many stakeholders in a business, and each of them has their own definition of value. So it you cannot have a universal definition of value because to a different person it means a different thing. For example, for you guys, value from this subject or this our section is being able to comprehend the knowledge, getting ready for your exam. Or for me, the knowledge, the value I want to achieve here is being able to give back my knowledge to you guys so you can kind of understand this subject. It's the same thing here. We have a different stakeholders, so such as shareholders, which is the investor that invests in our company. The value to them would be how are the share price? How is the share price today? What is the share price today? Did it increase compared to yesterday? That's the ability to generate wealth for them. Lenders, their value could be something like, do we have the financial capability to meet the short-term financial requirements, such as repaying the current liability? Customer, the value would be, oh, can we produce a products that offer the lowest price on the market? Supplier would means, is our market or our performance strong enough so we keep ordering from them? Employees would, their value would be, are we performing well so that I can still receive my payroll this month? Or regulators would be, how are our production affecting the community as a whole? Are we maintaining sustainability requirements? Are we complying with all the environment's requirements? Or the community groups as well? Are we behaving in an ethical way that is in the best public interest? So the highlight here that you guys need to get out of is everyone has their own definition of value, and failure to consider that people's thought, that person's thought into the definition of value will make it difficult to maintain and increase shareholder value. You cannot maintain and increase it if you don't know what they value. You said that, okay, I have an angel investor in my company, but you don't know what the value is. Is that money, or is that the all the service and the products that you guys adding to their portfolio? What's their value, right? Value creation is just as relevant in not-profit and public sector. So that's highlighting value is not just about the money, not just about monetary value. It has different meanings, intrinsic and extrinsic meanings. Value creation in contemporary organization is based on creativity and innovation. So that's the first one. Are we clear on this concept? Okay. Shareholder value. So we go into next one, we go into more details on each of these shareholders' value. So the shareholder value is generating wealth. On contrast, the customer value is if we can produce a product at the lower cost than the price customer is willing to pay. Now, we want to look at figure 1.3 in more details. This is describing the organization value chain. In here, you will see that we have two set of activities here. The first one is what we call primary activity. And the second one is supporting activities. So each of these one has different departments in a standard business, as you see. So the first one with primary activities, we have operation, which is activities that so actually the definition of primary, that's why we call them primary activities, because they directly involve in the creation and delivery of a product or service. It's directly. So operation is about transforming inputs into finished products. So let's have an example so that you guys can better visualize it. We all know JB Hi-Fi?
Yep.
Right. So with JB Hi-Fi, Let's see, the primary activities is going to be firstly operation, which is managing the retail store and online platform, or inventory management and products pricing, ensuring that shelves are stocked with trending electronics, games, appliance. That's called their operation. And that's directly transforming inputs, which is the product, into a finished products, which is like selling them on the shelf because they are just a retailer. Secondly, you have sale, or we have sometimes sales and marketing. So for example, in the case that is like for activities that promote and sell products to customer. So for example, in the case of JB Hi-Fi, we have like in-store promotion, or they have the price match. You know, like you can do all the price match in JB Hi-Fi. If you find a cheaper deal, they will just price match it. It's part of sale and marketing. After sales and marketing, we move on to distribution, which is the delivering the product to the customer on what channel. So, for example, with JP Hi-Fi, they can physically deliver goods to your door, or you can directly deliver to a supplier, it's B2B or B2C. They can also efficiently supply chain coordination with logistic partners like DHL, and they're just shipping to your door. That's distribution. And lastly, even when the product delivered to the customer's hands, it does not end there, because we have after sale service. That's all of your warranty, return policy, product repairs, or if there's any errors with your products, you call the customer service desk and say, oh, something's wrong with mine. Can you help me? That's after sales service. So these primary activities, one way or another, you can see it's all touch base on the products itself. However, on top of that, we also have supporting activities, which are the activities that enable the primary activities to function more efficiently. So it does not directly deal with the product itself, but without it, the primary activities cannot function properly. So we have research and development. In the case of JP Hi-Fi, it can be analyzing trends in customer electronics, so they know what kinds of the procurement department can know, oh, which product should I order next. So for example, if iPhone is really soon, they need to know, oh, how are the hype on iPhone this year, and how many iPhones should we order for this year, something like that. And of course, we have our department, accounting and finance, which is always mistaken to be one of the primary activities, but it's actually the support activities. But don't worry, we're very important, so don't worry about it. It includes like managing daily transactions, store performance reports, supplier payments. Without who's going to pay the bills, right? Financial forecasting and compliance with public company requirements. So that's accounting. We also have human resources, which involve recruiting knowledgeable staff in the store, provide sales training, customer service trainings to all of our staff. We have IT department and infrastructure department, which involve anything from operating and maintaining the e-commerce platform, managing the inventory system, point of sale system, customer database, anything to do with data. Infrastructure can be, oh, the head office, the leadership team that manage overall company strategy, real estate for the store, what's the rent, how are we, what's our commercial rent, warehousings, distribution hubs, and that is support activities. So yeah, that's the relationship between the support activities and the primary activities. Are we clear on those two?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Just let me know if you have any questions, yeah? I'm trying my best to read all the face gesture, but like it's only the best I can do, so don't be shy. Just let me know if you have any question, or if you want me to go a bit slower in some of the topics, right? Stakeholder value. Shareholder wealth is a byproduct of generating value in other areas. So to create product and service, an organization will require community permission to operate, infrastructure, customer, and employees, who will only supply the effort if the wage and condition are adequate. Again, to employee wages. What are they getting paid? That's the value to them. Considering all stakeholder is critical to the organizational success. So it's not like you can prioritize one over another. It's about balancing the value that you are delivered to all stakeholders. Right. So which viewpoint should we take in when we determine value? There's two viewpoint, kind of contrasting viewpoint here between the organizational viewpoint and society viewpoint. So, for example, if I'm CFO and my company is kind of doing financially it's struggling, right? So my viewpoint would be, oh, I have to do my best to cut all the unnecessary costs. Some of it can be, oh, massive layoff. If you heard about on the news recently, there's massive layoff everywhere for especially in the tech industry, reducing the number of staff by 10%. That's my viewpoint. However, what does that lead to? That leads to unemployment, that leads to financial pressure on communities and additional stress for employees who remain employed because now they have to carry the extra tasks from all of the redundant staff. Or the organization viewpoint can be switching production to a cheaper offshore locations with lower standards of employee and environmental protections. So a lot of companies try to shift their production warehouse, all of their warehouse, to all the developing countries. Um, but what does that create? That will create local unemployment. That means where the company is located, they not having enough of job for everyone locally, and it creates environmental degradation in these developing countries and an increase in injuries incidents among employees who receive little protection because some of the employee protection law in those developing countries it's not even complete. Or the next viewpoint we have is a massive price discounting of key items by supermarket to gain market share, forcing suppliers to reduce prices. This is actually hotline because have you guys heard recently about how the customer watchdog is onto Coles and Woolies of how they are trying to negotiate the price and try to forcing suppliers to reduce price, especially farmers? Have you heard about these news?
Uh, Not sure.
Okay, so that is quite of a very common practice that all of these big retailers are doing, so that they try to squeeze in any margin all of these suppliers have, so they can benefit themselves. Sure, in the organization viewpoint, you are maximizing your margin, but in contrast, looking at the picture here, what are you doing to the society? A small price reduction for individual consumer, but at the expense of producer who are unable to remain viable. So it just continue that chain because some of your suppliers or some of your producers can be your consumer. If they cannot survive with their business, then in the end they cannot afford your products either. So there's no balance there. Or the last one, you have selling addictive products or service, including gambling, alcohol, and cigarettes. Sure, you are just trying your best to sell all of your products, which you think is helping out. It helps to pay the bills of your employees. It helps to make the organization profitable, but at what cost? The cost is a social issue in communities and an increase in health related costs. So that's what we need to take into the strategic management accounting because as you see here, any viewpoint you take for organization, there's a consequence with the society viewpoint. So that's why strategic management step in so that it can determine the direction it will take, the industry, the type of product and service, the structure, system, process, goals, and objective so that it balance out all the stakeholders' value, so that it balance out the organization's viewpoint, but not at the cost of the society. So it's about all the high level strategic planning and strategy here. Does that make sense? Can we kind of see the contrast here? All right, perfect. So that is the general concept about strategic management accounting, but each of the concepts will have their own process. So firstly, you have the strategic management process. In here, I want you to differentiate between the two key concepts, which is strategic management and operational management. Now, in your own words and from your recording, can you briefly describe or help me to differentiate these two key terms? What do you think is the most significant difference between these two definitions? Can I have Anu to help me?
Sure. With strategic management, it's basically deciding like a direction in which it's basically for like long term, deciding direction and structure of the organization, like making long term plans.
Yep.
But whereas for operational management, it's like achieving like what the company has decided for the long term plans. It's basically executing them and then
Yep.
retrieving the like daily results for the company, so as company can achieve daily results which will result in fulfilling the long-term plans in the near future.
Right. I think you do have like some of the correct points in there. The most important thing is strategic management. You're right in the sense that yes, it's focused on long-term planning and the direction setting for the
Yes.
organization. In contrast, operation management is looking at very short to medium term. It's looking at day-to-day running and coordination of the business activities. So the focus of strategic management is going to be about the vision, the mission, the goals, the competitive advantage, all of these high level strategy. In contrast, operation management will be focusing on efficiency, productivity, resource optimization, how to run your business on a daily basis in the most efficient way. The level that will be involved in the strategic management normally is your top level, all of your C-suite, CEO, COO, all of your CTO, all of those executives, directors. Whereas with operation management, they will be focused, the level would be mid to low level managers, such as managers, some line managers, supervisors. And for example, in the case of JP Hi-Fi, let's just continue with our example so you have one that thorough. The strategic management example can be, oh, we will have launched a new product such as smart home device. So the decision involved will be by the top executive to expand into smart home tech because of growing demand. They conduct like market analysis, set a long-term goal to increase this revenue from the new tech by 20% in 3 years and allocate funding. This is a strategic decision that aligns with the future growth. In contrast, if we have the same thing, the same business, which is JP Hi-Fi, what would be their operational management example? That would be how to running a store inventory efficiently. For example, that will involve a store manager to ensure some smart speakers, thermostat, well stocked. They monitor inventory levels, managing staff roster, reordering products when stock run lows, and they keep the day-to-day operation smooth and responsive to customer demand. That's gonna be the operational management. They are very detail oriented. It's much more detailed compared to the strategic management, which is at a higher level. Okay. Are we clear on this concept?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So figure 1.5 show you the strategic management process. So it starts with strategic analysis, both internal and external. What are we analyzing these factors for? You are analyzing the external environment to understand trends and changes that affect the industry and the economy as a whole. For the internal factors, you are analyze your own resources, your own capabilities to understand how they might react to these changes in the environment that you just analyzed before. And you can use various tools and techniques such as Word. Do all of us heard about this tool before? SWOT analysis. So it's kind of summarized your strength, your weakness, what is opportunities, and what is your threats. We'll go into this one a little details in later in this module. And the second step is strategy, planning, and choice. That will be the formulation of the strategy, includes developing strategy, action, and measure. Next, we move into after we have planned out our strategy, we have formulated a strategy that we're going to stick to. Now we're going to go and implement it, which is crafting an effective organization structure, who will do which, organizational process, and culture. How are we going to achieve it? Lastly, after we implement it, we do not just leave it there. Of course, you have to evaluate it. You have to see how is the measurement, the performance going, what are other feedbacks from the staff, from the customer, from the suppliers, from the regulators, from the shareholders, and review. But what are we doing all these review for? We are doing all these review and performance measurement so that it can fit again in the strategic analysis. So you see, this is a closed loop process. It's ongoing and iterative. So it's never stop at one step. Your input from one step is the output for the next one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's about strategic management process. Uh, we uh, we have talked about strategic management. Now we're talking about operational management in more detail. It's basically means that, well, the difference is here. So strategic is mean directly linked to survival of an organization. It's like without a goal, without a permission, without mission, what are we doing here? What are we trying to achieve here? What's our aspire? What do we want to become? Whereas with operational management, it's not directly related but indirectly influence organizational survival. If you did not maintain one of your store a day, no problem. Maybe you have one or two complaints from your customer. Maybe you lose one or two customer. That's fine. If you do not manage your store efficiently, the second day that customer will not go back. The third day is getting worse, and gradually it will affect your survival. So anything happen to operational management, it would not just kill your organization immediately, but it will gradually deteriorate. You can see the value of your organization, Jason, is gonna be decreased every day. Strategic is all about organizational wide phenomena. It's the whole culture. It's the top culture. It's the direction of the whole company. Whereas operational management relates to specific operation of the organization. For example, someday you forget about what the mission of your company, but you will still know what are the tasks you need to do that day. You have the to-do list in front of you. You have what your department deadlines and all of these tiny things. Strategic management involves non-routine activities. When you plan a project, you don't just plan it every day. It's a long process. It's like the start, the beginning of a task. So it's non-routine, whereas with the operational management, it's involved routine day-to-day activities. For example, like us, we need to reconcile the bank kind of every day or every week so that we know what other transactions are coming in. Therefore, strategic management, all of these combined, it can be very ambiguous because you don't talk to about every day. You don't see it every now and then. It's very high level and only the top executive involved in this making decision. So it's very ambiguous concept to some people, whereas operation management is easy. When I mention a task to you, probably you already know what it is. a salesperson, they need to introduce the a product to a customer. We can kind of vision it every now and then. We can see what are that process even without talking about it. Therefore, strategic management require high-level strategic management orientation, whereas operational is tactical management. This is very important. So we have the concept of strategic management with operational management. What are those? Strategic management involves strategic management, strategy management, whereas operational management involves tactical management and focus on doing, implementing, achieving operational excellence. Uh, Strategic management, manage critical success factors. We'll revisit this concept in module 5 again. So please keep an eye out for, please remember this concept for critical success factors of the organization, whereas the operational management is about day-to-day basis. All right, so next up, we're moving on to strategic management and line manager. So the goal of every organization nowadays is trying to flatten the hierarchy in their business. What is this one? The hierarchy is the structure of your organization. It's about how you organize it horizontally or vertically. So for now, like a multinational company, they may have so many middle senior manager, middle managers, and then you go jump on to directors. So if you were to say, if you are a smaller staff and you want to make a suggestion, it will need to go through all of these layers before it reach the top so that they can make decision. So what they're trying to do is instead of like combining into horizontal, we flatten it out so that, for example, your ideas can just go through one manager before they can make decision, but the decision is not going to be organizational wide. It's going to be for your department first, and then it's parallel moving on to the department. So instead of horizontally, we're spreading it out so that everyone have a bit of authority and decision making power to be delegated to the lower level employees, which it will help to improve the flexibility and the responsiveness within the organization. So if, for example, if a customer demand is going somewhere in the market and you can kind of catch it, but because of your hierarchy in the organization, it need to go through all of these layers before it can make an impact. So by the time that it reaches the CEO to make the decision, maybe your competitors already adopt that plan. So now instead of that, you just reach your manager and you two can make the decision on that department. So at least, oh, your organization can see you start making the impact on that demand. And then somehow it will spread out with the effect because it gives you a little bit more flexibility and responsiveness. Management accountants are required to provide, so that's where our role come in here. We're required to provide support training to line managers to enable them to collect and communicate key performance information by themselves. So it's not like, oh, you're just making decision. You have to set out the KPIs for yourself. Sure, you're doing this plan, but what does that do? How are you tracking your performance? And we are the one to reporting on these KPIs and see how effective the plan is. Right, next one, we have strategic management accounting and in service industry. Well, it's very similar approach into to all other industry. However, with service industry, there are some unique characteristic that kind of affect some of our approach. So firstly, as you can see, a service is intangible. So it can be more difficult to define and measure systematically. For example, if you go in a hotel and you want to measure the customer service, what would you look at? There's nothing for you to look at. But however, it's like how the staff is greeting you, how are they answering your call, how quick are they answering your call when you call out to the reception. It's about the smile they put in your day, right? So all of these are very intangible. It's not something that you see, or it's not something that you can grab and then to measure to one and another. Once a service is provided, it cannot be consumed or used again in the same way as a product. This means there's no ability to store a service as inventory, which is a good thing and bad thing. You don't need a warehouse for service, but it will make it more difficult to manage supply and demand levels. Sure, you cannot see it, you cannot store it. How do you know? How do you know which kind of reaction do your customer want you to behave with them? It's about acquiring a lot of customer feedbacks that you can achieve this. A service is more of a unique offering than a product, so it's systematically and identically much more difficult. Unused capacity is lost forever. It cannot be used to create something that's stored for later, such as like inventory cannot be created. So in a manufacturer, do you guys have you guys heard of the, maybe if you do financial reporting, the definition of WIP, work in progress?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's something like, oh, if you haven't finished that product, maybe some of the material can be used for new products. However, with service, it's different. If you save yourself a smile from a customer, it's not like you're gonna see them again. Because if they're not happy with your service, probably they'll not return to see you again to use the last smile of yours. So that's why you need to use it at the right time. So the important issue in a service environment include proper management of excess capacity, measuring and maintaining quality. This is very important. Costing the provision of service to different customers. Because of these unique characteristics, the top executive need to be very conscious and very careful with the way that they plan the strategic management strategy. Lastly, we'll have the strategic management accounting in the public sector. So in the public sector, it's going to be a little bit different to other sector because most of that is not for profit. It's about the public interest. It's about the goods of everyone in the society. So in the performance assessment, they can help this our role or strategic management accounting in general can help to establish some metrics for measuring economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. So can someone please help me to define one of these three: economy, efficiency, and effectiveness? What do you understand about these terms? Any volunteers in the room? Vandana, can I ask for your help?
Right. So
Yeah.
economy is like, we can provide the resources at the lowest cost available. So yeah, that's basically for the profit or in terms of my monetary value you can see. And then
Mm-hmm.
efficiency is like the maximization of output. I'm not exactly sure like how we can this one
Mm-hmm.
means exactly. And
Okay, we can
yeah,
go through that in more details.
yeah,
And
and if effectiveness is like achieving the objectives.
right,
Yeah.
this one is very easy to, you guys can really easy to mistake the effectiveness and efficiency. That's a common mistake that I see like
Yeah,
in
they're
all
quite
my students.
similar. Yeah, they're quite
Yeah.
similar. Yeah.
So economy, you are right. It's all about minimizing the cost. How do we minimizing the cost of inputs without reducing the quality? So it's like given a quality. All right, you can minimize the cost, but at what cost? You cannot reduce your quality. So your quality, you need to fix it. And our question is, how do we minimize the cost now? That's economy. So the key question is, did we get the best value for money? For example, in a public sector, it can be like a council negotiate a cheaper contract for fuel for garbage trucks. That's about economy. That's the economical factors. Efficiency. is getting the most output from the resources used. How do you maximize the output from a given input? So now our input is fixed. How do you maximize the output from there? For example, are we using the resources well? Like it's about in your production phase. Are you doing the best so that you can maximize your output? Little tips for you is like whenever there's a factor about efficiency, there's never like a standalone factor. It's always how many homes per route, how many patient per customer, how many students per teachers. It's always comparing output with input. So they go hand in hand together for efficiency. So in the case of our example before about like how the council is negotiating cheaper fuel for garbage trucks, it can be like, oh, each waste truck now service 20% more homes per route using the route software. That's like, oh, right, a different one. If you cannot change the input, now you have to find a way to maximize the output. Like you can do some shortcuts, so save you a bit of fuel. That's efficiency. Is that a bit clearer for you, Vijana?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So last one is effectiveness. Effectiveness is all about achieving a desired outcome. It's the overall goals or the public satisfaction. It's not, you're not even just worry about like some output, input. You are looking, I want you guys to look at the bigger picture here. Did we meet our objectives? For example, in our example again, 95% of household report satisfaction with garbage collection service. That's that's effectiveness. It's looking at the ultimate goal, the bigger picture, compared to like the lower level of efficiency and economy. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay,
it does.
perfect.
Yeah.
Um, the role of management accountant in a strategic management, what I need you guys to remember is this table. So we have two views. Previously, management accountant is being treated like, oh, management accounting is being treated like a tool for job costing, process costing. You allocate this expense to a job and put it in a report, and so that we know, oh, this job, how much does that cost? For example, in a construction, how much does this house cost? Which state of this one, how much does that cost? It's all about budgeting, variance analysis, financial data. Looking at this, we're all looking at the monetary values here. We're looking at the technical skill, the technical data. Whereas now, management accounting is turning towards this more strategic view, which means you're not only just doing job costing and process costing, you're also doing product costing, activity-based costing, and management will be familiar with this concept in later modules. Don't worry if you do not know what they are now. Some life cycle analysis, including social, environmental, costs and benefits. So you do not look at a product just at a specific phase or do not divide it into phases. You're looking at, oh, it's starting phase, it's mature phase, all of that, all of their life cycle. Value chain analysis. Now we're looking at something that's non-financial here. Because value, we learn about it, right? It means different thing to different people. We have primary activities, we have support activities. It also has generate different value. We're looking at financial, operational, and qualitative data. So it's not even numerical anymore. It's also qualitative. Competitor cost structure analysis. So this one, in the traditional view, you're only looking at your data. But in the strategic one, you've added the competitor cost. You've added the external factors in here. You have industry and even look at the broader economy analysis. So our role is turning from an accountant, turning towards more of an analyst, business advisors, and partner with the top executive. So in order to being able to do that, you need to have contemporary skill and technique. What are the skills that you need? So you need to be the creators of value. the enablers of value, and the preserver of value, and lastly, the reporters of value. Creators of value means that you will need to be able to develop plans and strategy that set the direction of the organization. So now you're joining the top executive in their planning creation step. Enabler of values, that means you need to support, you need to enable them to make decision and implement of the strategy. Preserver of value, that means you need to protect value through effective risk management, controls, compliance. And lastly, you need to be the reporter of values, which means after your project has run, after your strategy has been implemented, now you need to be able to provide clear and detailed reporting, not just on the monetary value, not just on the financial data. You need to include non-financial, you need to include both internal and external factors in here. So a matrix of skill has been prepared by International Accounting Education Standard Board, which will detail what's required in today's professional accountant in business. So some of the main categories include intellectual, interpersonal, and communication skill. That's very interesting. So you not only need to be good at calculating numbers, crunching numbers. You need to be able to cooperate with people, team working. You need to communicate clearly and concisely in both writing and verbally, so you can present in a meeting. Personal skill, you need to commit to lifelong learning. Why we need to commit to lifelong learning? Because the data that we're exploring is changing every day. With the technical advancement, there's so many tools that you can use to start with your reporting now. We stop at Excel. Now we're moving on to Power BI. Some of us also already incorporate Copilot in our working, and no one's not using ChatGPT right now, right? So that's how you need to commit to lifelong learning. You need to advance yourself so that you can find innovative way of reporting these KPIs to the top executives. And you also need organizational skill, because you need to be able to meet your deadlines. How do you organize your tasks? How do you time manage the time so you always meet your deadlines? Apply management skill to motivate and develop others. It's not just about yourself. It's about the whole team. You need to able to, well, this is essentially a management subject. You need to be able to manage people. You need to support all of your lower level staff so that the whole team can develop, right? All right. We're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna come back to part D, and we're gonna start discussing all the questions from week 1, which is gonna be from question 1 and question 12. So I'll meet you guys at 9:05. Everyone happy with that? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Take a short break and then drink some water if you need to. Hello, is everyone back? Hello? Okay,
Hello, yeah.
we'll wait a bit to see. Oh, is that? Is everyone ready? Jump
Yep.
right back into it, shall we?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so part D, we're going to list out some of the challenges that facing by us management accountants right now. So the first one is technology. What's new, right? Technology, it can be a advantage, but it can also be a challenge. The challenge here is how we can use technology effectively while guiding others to effectively use management accounting system. So in more details, how are we keeping information secure and maintain customer privacy? Because us right now, we have the privilege of having so much access to all of the customer data. But in order to maintain it in a secure way, it's going to be a challenge. Maintaining records and audit trails for data verification in a computerized environment. Does anyone know what is an audit trail is in a computerized environment? Anu, do you have an answer for me? Or Shira, do you know what audit trail is?
I reckon it has all the data and data details and transaction details.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
correct. But what kind of details? The detail here is who did what at what time. So for example, if I'm in an accounting system or a management accounting system and I do one task, the system will record my action. It will say, hey, Charlotte Huang, she posted this journal at what time on what date. So that's the audit trail. That's that is there for data verification. So if you make any changes for the book or any of the data, the system or the organization can have a record of who did that. So it can confront you and then it can give everyone a kind of a authority and verification step. The third one is effectively implementing major information system projects. So all of us, I'm sure we've all been through where we have upgrade of accounting system so that you have a better platform for reporting. Because right now, with the advancement of technology, you can collect data from different sources. It's from online, you have all of your CRM system, of your billing system, you can combine them and see and analyze all the trend. So it's about how you can effective implement, pick out the best one that work for your organization, successfully implement it so it work effectively in your favor. Technology is transforming how people compete in an industry, which is forcing rapid change and innovation. Especially in accounting right now, a lot of our tasks is being automated. So without being advancing ourselves in the technology or technological forefront, we're gonna be keep behind. That's one of the key challenges as us thinking management accounting is all about forward thinking. So you need to apply that mindset, not in just planning strategy, but also in how to implementing the system that allowing you to do all that. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge is managing resources. What kind of resource? Firstly, is assets. How do you effectively use and control assets that require for superior result? Second is cash flow management and supply chain management. This is specifically important for management accounting because we're all about how to run our project the most effectively. Without cash flow, without supply chain, you will not be able to do that. Using forecasting tools to achieve reductions in inventory levels. For example, a lot of companies now using protocol or like some app like Monday or Workdays to do their forecasting. That's one way for you to kind of analyze all the data you have and look ahead how to manage the inventory levels. Maintaining effective links with suppliers. Sometimes it's not just about the machine here. Networking, maintaining your suppliers' network, having the best deals theories, prioritizing your orders. That's how the suppliers can help you through. Improving areas of recognizing, developing, and managing intangible assets, including knowledge. Human intellectuals is very important kind of resource as well. Third challenge would be innovation. We heard about innovative ways of thinking so much in management accounting. We thought to ourselves, hey, isn't that one of the advantage? Why is that now becoming a challenge? Because innovation, it drives competitiveness by creating efficiency and new and better products. So you need to keep up with the innovative trend in the market so that you keep your competitive advantage position in the market. Innovation is both an outcome, that is, a new product or service, and a process. It's a combination of decision, structure, resource, skills that produce outputs and outcome. Constant innovation is required. So it's just not innovation. You cannot just be innovative. You reach one point and you stop. It needs to be continuous. It needs to be a constant. It needs to be every single minute. You cannot stop. Consistently generating new and improved products, service, and process, such as with Apple, they always market themselves as having premium products in the market. Is essential to creating customer value. So with Apple's customer, their value is not even about, oh, we have a cheap phone. That's not what customer value of Apple. Customer are buying iPhones because it makes them feel like they are holding a premium products. It set the tone of their status. It's like, oh, I'm tech savvy. I am having a premium products. I can afford those one. That's what each brand, they have a different type of value to a customer. Investment in R&D is necessary to maintain superior performance. This is why you see all of the organization, they can outsource and offshore some of their department, but never the R&D always sit in the head office because that's where all the knowledge is stored, or the brain of the brand or the brain of organization sits. A clear understanding of customer and innovation might lead to customer value, such as creating similar goods and service more efficiently than before, which leads to lower price, or by offering better service or products that provide an idea a better customer experience. That's about innovation. But what are the causes of the change in business environment that causing all of these to be a challenge for us? So it's all been summarized in figure 1.6. There are four main causes of change in the contemporary business environment. First one is the global economy, such as economic turmoil, structural change, globalization. You see this trend. You heard about this word so many years ago, but why is we still hearing about it now? The reason is because it never stopped. We're becoming a global citizen. We can work from anywhere with the advancement of technology. It's like one person, you work for a different country. For me, I can be in Australia, but I work for a US company. It doesn't matter. The second is technology. Obviously, you have change in your capital equipment because now you can buy more advanced equipment or more advanced system that help in your work. Information communication technology. Well, Exhibit A, we're using Zoom as our delivery method of this subject. Changing business environment is internal structure, such as now a lot of organization is working toward a flatter hierarchies, outsourcing, offshoring some of your department to oversee so that you have a cheaper cost or cheaper reduction cost. You have some joint venture so that you both come in and each party is good at one thing. So you only focus on what you're good at, and together or collectively you achieve the synergy out of it. Virtual office management reporting. Third, the last one, which is very much on demand right now, is about sustainability. It's not just about the money anymore. It's about, are you making money sustainably? Sure, you're making money now, but in the next 10 years, in the long term, will you be making more? The same money or less? Will you be able to survive? So you do not just need to perform profitably, you also need to perform profitably in a sustainable way. So that's what you need to care about environmental management accounting. What are the impact that your organization is doing on the environment or other stakeholders? What community is thinking, or ethics? Are you doing this in the best interest of the public? That's sustainability. So that's the key 4 causes of change in contemporary business environment. In your own time, please read through this all of these details, because it would detail more what are those, and it provides some example. All right, so that's all about part A to D, all the main key ideas at least. Do we have any other questions so far? How are we feeling about this subject?
I have one question.
Yes.
In innovation part, you said that research and development is not cannot be outsourced.
Yes.
It has to be done within an organization. So in the organizational value chain, research and development is a support activity. So if it's a support activity, wouldn't be able to, can we get someone else to do it?
Very good question, Sarah. And then thank you for noticing that R&D is a support activities.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. R&D is like your brain of
Yeah.
the organization. If we get someone else to think on behalf of us, would that be yours?
No.
The thing is, it contains R&D. It contains not only your key ideas, your key products, but also all of your business trade secrecy. So that's the reason why you wouldn't want to offshoring it or outsourcing it to a different entities. Something of that need to be your own. So a lot of organization that they try, well, no matter what they do, they keep R&D at heart, because that's how you keep your business from going. That's how you keep your competitive advantage. That's how you keep all of your intellectuals or patents. Very good question, though. Any other question?
No.
Because we've covered up probably till part D of this, just checking to see and because everything we cannot memorize or cram in our brains. What's the best way to create index for these parts?
Yes, perfect. So the best way to create index is you guys would have access to one of the sample index in Digify. So the best way to do it is going through each of these concepts, highlight the key terms. So for example, in part D, I would highlight technology, management, managing resources, innovation. But next to it, make sure you put a keyword for that part. So for example, I do technology slash challenges. So I know this is talking about technology, but it's talking about the challenge, not the advantage of technology and how you use it in management accounting. The next one, I will include which module is that one in. So from this one is module 1. I would also include the notes of it. So for example, at minimum, for technology, I would include secure and maintain customer privacy, records and audit trails, implementing major information system, transforming people compete with an industry. That's the minimum I would include. Then the index, I would recommend you guys do it in an Excel so that firstly, you're going to sort it by page number. The secondly is you sort it by alphabetical. So in the exam, if you see a technology, you just go into the alphabetical index of yours, search for technology. And then the next one, they're going to ask about how you're going to implement technology in management accounting. Then you search for technology advantage instead of technology challenge. So that's the way that I would approach making an index. Does that make sense, Anu?
Yes, it does.
Okay, cool, perfect. So yeah, after today, please start making your index from part A to part D. If you want, bring along your index. I can have a look at your index and see if it cover all the key terms in the beginning of the next section. If that helps everyone. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Right. So if we don't have any other question, let's move on to our practice question. I hope everyone have a chance to do question 1 to 12 from the platform. If not, let's just do it together now. All right. So with multiple choice questions, the key thing here is we have 52 questions. Each question will have one correct answer, and you don't get points deducted if you got the wrong answer. So the first rule of thumb: do not omit any question. Even if you don't know, try to pick an answer, because if you pick an answer, if you do that question, you got 20% of correct. Other than nothing, better than nothing. So when you look at your exam, for me, I would prefer to do the multiple choice question first, because I want to start something easy for me, and then you always can get a question for it. And because everyone's attended a CPA exam before?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we have that flag option for review later. So for the first one, when you do it, if you do not anything, flag it for review, but then always come back to finish it. Don't get stuck on a question for too long, because you only have 2 minutes per questions. So try to finish within that time. If you don't know, skip it and then go back, because every question with the same points. So do not just focus on the hardest question, but I'd rather use that time wisely and to score on some of the easier question first. Are we clear on this? All right, so let's get into it. For this one, I'll call out everyone in turn, so everyone got a chance to do each of the question, and I'll ask some follow-up question. Right, so the first one: which of the following is not required for a strategic management accounting? Anu,
Um,
what do you think is not required? Now, think about management accounting. What is management accounting is all focused on? We have 5 factors that we very focus on.
I think it's historic focus.
Historic focus. Can you give some explanation why did you choose this answer?
Because management accounting basically is dealing with, like, is it like long-term focus for the company,
Long
and
term, correct?
also making decisions so that the company or the firm can survive.
Mm,
So I believe it's not going to look onto the history of the company.
perfect. So the 5 important characteristic, 5 focus of management accounting is it's going to be first, forward looking.
Yes.
This is the contrast of forward looking. So this is the correct answer. Second, you have internal. You look at your internal strength and your internal weakness. You look at external factor. You look at financial data. So we also still have the financial data. Now the focus of the past traditional view is on financial data. We still focus on it now, but we also add in non-financial data. So when you mention about management accounting, I want you guys to be able to tell me these 5 characteristics. It need to be engraved into your brain about these characteristics. Because this is the most unique thing about management accounting. Do you know which type of accounting is focused on historical data?
Financial accounting.
Correct. It's financial accounting. So that's the opposite. That's how you can kind of see the contrast. Moving on to question 2. Which of the following forms part of the long-term strategy planning of an organization? Resource planning, preparation of corporate plan, production planning, and preparation of detailed oriented or operational plan. Can I have Dana to help me with this one?
I think that's resource planning.
Resource. So your answer is resource planning.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Can you explain why you think resource planning is the long-term strategy planning of organization?
Yeah, because we have limited resources in an organization and we plan to utilize it properly, maximize it properly. So that's the reason I think resource planning makes up.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of the others are short-term planning. Why?
Yeah, that's right. That looks like more of like a operational management, part of operational management.
Okay, I see. Does everyone else have the same answer to this one? Shira?
Honest, yeah, I think that I'll go with that as well, actually.
Resource plan.
Yeah.
All right, so let me explain a little bit here. So resource planning involves allocating specific resource, such as like people, equipment, materials, and budget to meet the goals of the organization. It ensures that the right resources are available at the right time to deliver on plans efficiently. So, for example, if you have a project for just 1 year or 6 months, you would need to be able to plan all of your resource in that time frame. If you have a task that's need to be done by this week, you will need to allocate the resources by that week. So it involves more operational or tactical management here more than strategic management because it translates long-term strategic goal like for example market expansion into actionable resource equipment or requirements such as hiring equipment purchasing. Therefore this resource planning is normally medium term because it's all about implementing part of the strategy, like opening a new store, not about defining what the strategy is. You already have a strategy. Then you need to go to the next step, which is planning the resources for that strategy. The strategy here is looking at long term. The resource planning here is conducted after or you already have the strategy. The correct answer here is preparation of the corporate plan. The corporate plan is a long-term strategic planning which involves setting the overall direction of the organization over several years. This will include something like defining your mission, your vision, setting long-term goals, analyzing external and internal environments, and formulating high-level strategy because it's the plan for the whole corporate. So that this one is going to be long-term. And that is the correct answer here. So unfortunately, resource planning was the incorrect answer. Are we clear on this question or this answer?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, I'm glad that makes sense. Which of the following is not a reason why SMA is more difficult in a service environment? All right, now we're touching base on the service environment. Shira, you have an answer for this question for me? take your time to read the question if you need. And read really carefully on the question. This is not asking which one is, it's asking which one is not. It's a very typical common type of question in CPA. When you read this question, I want you to scan the keyword. Obviously, we have in the service environment, and we have strategic management accounting, which is the theme of this subject anyway. You can flip back your notes if you need to as reference as well. Do we have an answer yet?
I feel like all of them are correct.
You think all of them are correct? All right, because all right, if I can make a guess, I think what you're doing here, I think you read through it, you skim there's a service, you flip back your note, you see, all right, the first one mentioned quality. That seems like a theme in the service one.
Yeah.
The second one mentioned intangible. That's a characteristic of service environment. The next one, unique offering than a product, systematic in identical way. That's exactly what the note said. The third one, once it's provided, it cannot be consumed.
Correct.
That is also what the note said, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is a common mistake. So you cannot just looking at the keyword. You have to understand what is that saying here. The answer here is A. Quality is more important in service provision. Does the note mention that? The note mentioned quality is important in service environment, but it does not compare with other profession. It doesn't compare with product environment. It doesn't compare with manufacturer. In fact, quality is important in all environment, not just service environment. It's not just more important in service environment. If you produce a product, if you manufacture products, you need to maintain the quality of it as well. So that's why quality is important in both service and non-service delivery, because this is a universal concern, not a unique challenge for strategic management accounting. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. 4, which of the following best describe the purpose of formulating strategies? To control the behavior of employees, to achieve the organization's objectives, to understand the organization environment, or to assess the internal resources available to the organization. Any volunteer in the room?
Yeah.
It's B.
Yeah. Yeah. B.
B?
Yeah.
This one is a very easy one, isn't it? Because like all of other option is not relevant, not correct here. Like control behavior employees, that strategy guide direction, but it isn't about behavioral control. That's more policy and management. Understand organization environment, that's part of the strategy analysis, but not about formulating strategy. Assess internal resource. Again, this is a step in the strategy formulation and not the end goal, not the purpose. It's asking about the purpose here. Right. Question 5. Which of the following is an advantage of having a formalized strategic planning process? It guides the allocation of resource. It is less time consuming than relying on emergent strategy. It makes a clear distinction between planning and operations, or it discourages the grasping of unanticipated opportunities that arise outside the planning process. All right, we'll have 2 seconds to process this one, and then I want to volunteer in the room. Vedana, do you have an answer for me?
Oh, it's very tricky.
Firstly, let's analyze the question together. What do you think a formalized strategic planning process is?
Like we have formalized, we have already planned our strategy,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to now compare things that how it's gonna benefit, like or help
So we already have the strategy, correct?
in
We
place. Yeah,
already clearly define which task you need to prioritize over which task. You need to allocate resources like time, money, people effectively towards strategic goal, and you ensure alignment between strategy and resource use. That is the main advantage of having a formalized strategic planning strategy, or in a word, we have a structure planning process. So in here,
could be
which of that?
could be
Right.
A.
Yes, correct.
It
It's
guides
guide the allocation of resources. Now let's analyze why B, C, and D is wrong. So B, it is less time consuming than relying on emergent strategy. But is it? You have a structural one, you have a detailed one, and compared to emergent strategy where you have just less detail, which one will gonna be more time consuming? Which one? The formalized strategic planning or the emergent strategy? Which one do you think is gonna be more time consuming?
emergent strategy.
More time
More
consuming
more
or
time
less
consuming.
less
More time consuming.
emergent strategy is gonna be
Gonna be
less time consuming because it only plan for emergency. It takes you cannot if you have emergency, you cannot take forever to plan your strategy, Vadana. You
yeah.
have to make it quick because it's for emergency. It's for like limited that one time situation. Whereas with the structural one, you need to take time to analyze the market, analyze the internal factors, external factors, allocate fundings, finding and checking, ensure the strategy align with the resource that you use. That's why it's more time consuming than rely on emergent strategy when we're using a formalized planning process. It makes a clear distinction between planning and operation. Sure, where in a strategic planning process, it clarifies roles, but planning and operation are often interconnected. So this is not a key advantage. D, it discourages grasping unanticipated opportunities outside the planning process. This statement is correct because yes, it did discourage the grasping of unanticipated opportunities that arise outside of the planning process. But this statement is correct. But is it an advantage or is that a disadvantage? If it discourage the grasping of unanticipated opportunities, that means if you have anything that's not planned, that's not in your process, you just freak out. Is that an advantage or disadvantage?
Disadvantage.
Correct. And the question here is asking about the advantage. That's why, even though this statement is correct, the answer is wrong because it's not what the question is asking. So you see how CPA question is normally formulated or formed that way. It gives you correct statement, but it does not answer the question. So we need to be very and extra careful on analyzing this question. All right. Is everyone happy with question 5? Okay, perfect. Let's move on to question 6. We have a bit of time. MitoCare is a not-profit eye hospital and research center. Which one of the following statement is likely to relate to MitoCare vision rather than its mission statement? MitoCare places patient care before all else. B. MitoCare will be the global leader in cutting-edge surgery. C, MitoCare offers the highest level of patient care throughout the country. Or D, MitoCare consultants strive to continue improve surgical techniques. Now, we need to differentiate between vision, mission, and purpose. Can anyone give me some clear differentiation between the three? Anu, do you have an answer for this one? How do you differentiate between vision, mission, and purpose of an organization?
Vision, according to me, vision is like what the company sees. Mission is what the company aims to achieve. And the purpose is what's the sole purpose of the company, be it like serving the people or for making the profit.
Correct. That's very neat way to put it. So vision is all about long-term goals and aspirations. It's normally very long-term. It's a future-oriented statement. Vision, it needs to be future-oriented. That's the first characteristic. Describing what the organization aspires to become. Who do we want to become in the next 5 or 10 years? Mission is what the organization does and for whom. It's about the present. It's like how it operates to achieve the vision. It's like how do you already have a vision, you know who you aspire to become, but mission, how do you become that person? And purpose is about the organization's impact and values. Purpose is timeless. So, in all these four statements, which one do you think is the vision of MitoCare?
I think it's A.
A?
Yeah.
You think it's A? Why is that?
Because vision, in the first line of the question, it says MitoCare is a not-for-profit eye hospital. And if you look onto the first A option, it says MitoCare places patient care before all else. So purpose, vision is not for profit. So that's the reason why hospital is placing patient care before all else.
I agree that purpose is the not-for-profit. However, with a vision, as I mentioned, a very important characteristic is it needs to be future-oriented.
I think it's D. The MitoCare will be the global leader in cutting-edge surgery.
Correct, Vandana. The correct answer is going to be B. Because if you read through all four these statements, which one of this one focus on the future design state of this organization, where it wants to be?
Yeah, it says will be the global leader.
Correct, will be. So it's future oriented here. We're using a bit of grammar here, tips for us to answer this question. However, A is actually the mission because in order to be the global leader in the cutting edge surgery, what do we need to do? We need to place patient care before all else. That's what we're currently doing. And that will help us to achieve the goal of being the global leader in a cutting edge surgery.
Yeah.
That makes sense? Vision,
Sure.
you need to imagine who you want to be in the future. For example, your vision is going to be, I will be the CFO of this company in the next 10 years. That's your vision. Your mission is, I am finishing my CPA degree. That's the first step to achieve that vision. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, perfect. Now, 7. Which of the following is an example of strategic decision for a medium-sized company? The launch of a new product, the upgrade of a key business IT application, the determination of inventory reorder levels, or D, the replacement of a forklift truck in the warehouse. Strategic decision. Remember when we have strategic management, it correspond with strategic decision. When we have operational management, you have tactical decision. So this is how you have to differentiate between the two systems of strategic decision and tactical decision here.
Is it A?
You think it's A? Why is that?
Because it's a strategic decision to launch a new product or not. Secondly, strategic decision also involves long-term thinking about the company. To launch a new product, the company needs to think whether it needs to launch, thinking about the society and about its competitors as well.
It's perfect explanation. It's not only expanding, moving the business into a new era, but you also incorporate all of the shareholder value in here. That's what I like to hear. So that's a correct answer. Launch of a new product is a strategic decision. Determination of inventory reorder level, that's only concern one area.
Yeah.
Upgrade of key IT application, one area again. Forklift truck too small, that's all tactical decision. Compared to launch of a new product is looking at higher level, expanding the business into the next business era. So it's gonna be the strategic decision. That's the correct answer. Question 8. Which of the following is not an area where the management accounting provides strategic support? Data security, target costing, activity-based analysis, or customer profitability analysis? Management accounting. Now we're looking at what are the role of the management accountants, or what does management accounting do? Then you compare it back to all the answer and which one is going to be the correct answer. And again, this question is asking which one is not which one is.
I think it's A, data
A.
security.
Yeah.
A? Correct. Why is that?
Because it's more of like a tactical, decision, operational management or risk management.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're getting it. So these are a bit of the tactical decision, not a strategic decision. Management accounting, now we're becoming, remember when we're becoming an analyst, the advisor, the partner, these are all the tasks of that. Data security, let's face it, if you look at the common sense, it's more of an IT department. It's not management accounting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Question 9. Which of the following is the least likely to be a consequence of an organization pursuit of a strategy of globalization? Increased exposure to political risk, increased merger and acquisition activity, taller vertical organization structure, or D, greater costs associated with natural disaster?
It's D.
D, globalization. Now define to me, what do you think is globalization?
Globalization is like expanding, like be it in any part of the world. Because if we look onto the other options, it's like increased exposure to political risk.
Yeah.
If the policies are such, the business may not expand to certain countries if the policies are not in favor. Increase merger and acquisition activity. It can happen if there's if the company has got funds, then there could be increased merger and acquisition activities. And then there could be tolerant vertical organizational structures, because when you expand the company and when the company goes global, there's a chance that their vertical organization structures could be big. But if we look onto the option D, greater costs associated with natural disasters, it's got nothing to do with globalization.
What about a global presence increase exposure to diverse geographic region? Like instead of just opening in Australia, I open my company in Asia in Europe? And what if there's a storm in Asia? There's more disaster in Europe, because which will make my company more prone to natural disaster, isn't it? Like tsunami, earthquake. I open one office in Japan and suddenly there's an earthquake, compared to, oh, now I just opened in Australia. There's nothing that can impact my supply chain and operations. Now, do you think D is a possibility now?
I think it's
No.
yeah, I think it's B, taller vertical organization structure.
Why do you think that, Vidana?
Because in strategy management accounting, and because with the access of internet, we are going to flatter organization. So that could be,
Correct.
yeah.
The globalization typically pushes organizations to flatten their structure to enhance responsiveness, communication, and coordination and across global operations. So companies tend to decentralize decision making. For example, if I have an office in Japan, I would have an office manager or I would have a director of that area who will make the decision in that, instead of still me, the CEO, making every single decision. I would be reading the reports. I would not be making decision in that country. So I want flattened vertical organization structure, not taller. That's why B is least likely to happen. Does that make sense, Anu?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Okay. All right. 10. We have 3 more questions. So which of the following is not a benefit of globalization? All right, another globalization. Economies of scale, potential access to profitable markets, flexibility to move production to lower cost market, or elimination of business risks due to geographical diversification.
I think it's D, elimination of businesses due to geographical diversification.
Which one do you think?
D.
D? Why
Yeah.
is that?
Because it cannot eliminate the risk completely. It can probably reduce it, but it
Yes.
cannot completely.
Correct. So be very extra careful with the answer with like only, always, eliminate it, because there's nothing that's what is absolute. If you have something with absolute value, you need to read that sentence, nothing. But that's correct. Although risks may be reduced, it cannot be totally eliminated. And the other remaining options are actually come in the notes of our globalization. So D is the correct answer here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. 11. KPN is a public quoted company which manufactures and distributes alcoholic drinks. Which of the following arguments least justify its sustainability plans as being in the interest of investor? Sustainability can help KPN protect the company's reputation. Sustainability can help reduce the environmental impact of KPN. Sustainability can help KPN reduce costs and improve efficiency. Or sustainability can help KPN to comply with laws and regulation to avoid fines. Which one is the correct answer here? And again, focus on the question. It's asking which one of the quote is least justify its sustainability plans as being in the interest of the investor. We look at the investor here. So what is the investor value here? What does the investor care? We need to consider the value here. Shara, do you have an answer for me? If you are an investor, put yourself in the shoe of investor of KPN. What would you care about the most here? Reputation, environmental impact, cost and efficiency, or comply with laws and regulations?
Hmm.
Which one would be directly linked to investor interest? Anyone can help out?
I think it could be C.
C?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because investor, like, okay, that says least justified. Oh, okay. No, that's
You
not
want to
C.
change your
It's B.
answer?
Yeah.
Because you just reread the question and now say least justify, right?
Yeah, so I
That's a
think
very common mistake.
yeah, so I think it could be D.
D? Why
Yeah.
is that?
Because investor is like more focused and interested on return of investment, the investment that he's making.
Yeah.
So I think he's probably least bothered about
Your reasoning is correct, but your answer is wrong, unfortunately.
Is it B?
Yes, correct. It's gonna be B. So, what do investors care about? They care about generating wealth. Although the sustainability about environmental impact, it's very socially and ethically important. Compared to the other three, it doesn't really directly link to investor interest like profit, cost, or risk management unless it connects to brand or compliance or cost saving. So all they care about is making money, generating profit, return on their profit. Reputation is direct link to the market demand. Cost and improve efficiency, meaning lower cost, higher margin, better returns. And then compliance, reduce the risk of legal costs. So all of these three are very important. I'm not saying environmental impact is not important. I'm just saying compared to the other three, it's the least important to investor. That's why B is the correct answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Now, last question. Which of the following risks would not normally be classified as operational risk? The insolvency of one of business 15 suppliers of a particular component. One of the business most significant suppliers transferring its manufacturing operations overseas. One of the business most significant customers seeking to extend its credit period from 30 to 60 days. Or merger between business sole supplier of one component and the business main competitor. Now, which one is not a operational risk? Remember, we have strategic management, operational management, strategic decision, tactic decision, strategic risk, operational risk. So you can see what the question is asking you doing here.
I think C.
Do you think it's C?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's a operational risk compared to other three. Everything else relates to the day-to-day operations, such as
So do you think that C is operational risk?
operational risk. Yeah, it's not a operational risk.
It's not an operational risk. Correct, because this is more of a financial or credit risk, which relate to working capital management and cash flow. So all the other three is operational risks. So this one in the platform, I think they have the wrong answer. I think they have the answer as D, but the correct answer here should be C because this is the credit risk, not the operational risk. So if anyone can mark this question down for me, the answer should be C. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so we're gonna finish the our section today here. Does anyone have any other questions for me?
No.
Okay, cool. So if no one has question, please help me to read through all the reading of our next section, which is gonna be, so before our next section, please need to read and watch all the videos of Module 1 Part E and Module 2 Part A, B, and C, and finish the practice question from 13 to 32 for me. And then we'll fix this question in the next, we'll discuss this question in the next section. All right. Thank you for joining for today's class. And if you have a question, please let me know. Otherwise, our section will finish here.
All right.
All right. Thank
you.
you and have a good night.
Thank
You
you.
too.
See you next week.
See you.
Bye.